Before we begin today's video, I would just like to take a minute to talk about a crowdfunding campaign I actually feel very strongly about. This is in no way political, and this is in no way sponsored. I am taking this completely under my own volition because I believe in the project that much. It is the first graphic novel in what is hopefully to be an ongoing series called Flying Sparks from #1 best-selling Amazon.com author Jon Del Arroz with amazing looking artwork by Jon Malin, as you can see in this video. It is the story of it is a fun-filled adventure story about what happens when a superhero is dating her city's greatest supervillain. It promises to be a fun time for all ages, and I hope you will enjoy it, and that you'll follow the link in the video description and consider supporting it so that this project will get funded, because the only way we'll see this project through fruition is through the support of readers like you. Jon Del Arroz is a great guy who I talk to pretty much every day on Twitter, and he is putting a lot of passion into this, and as you can see, it looks great. So please, consider checking it out. And now, on with the video. Okay, just a quick disclaimer. I have not bought an Amazing Spider-Man comic from the main 616 universe since 4 or 5 issues after One More Day. So that would have been 2007. And so if I'm out of touch in any way, please forgive that. I don't really care to catch up. I mean, the closest thing I have any idea to what's going on is that I know for a while Doc Ock took over Peter's body, and some people said that he was being a better Spider-Man than Peter was, which I can't say I find hard to believe, given what Peter did in Civil War and One More Day. So, yeah. Oh, and I am calling this Amazing Spider-Man number 802 because it is. I don't believe in this renumbering things just because you change writers. Writers change on long-running titles all the time. The only reason I kind of went along with it on Superman was that they changed which Superman they were following. So I could kind of go along with that, but I would have preferred if they kept the numbers the same, just like they had done with Action Comics. But whatever. So yeah, but something has happened recently that caused me to, I said that if they started to do this, I would start buying the comics again. I've told Marvel that several times, so I'm giving it a chance. So let's just jump right into Amazing Spider-Man number 802. Cover is okay, although I'm not sure how Spider-Man is swinging upside down if he's so low to the ground. I'm not sure how he's even swinging. I mean, where's that other web going? Is it hitting the pavement? Because he has enemies charging right at him at ground. I mean, he can only be like maybe 6 feet off the ground at the most. But it kind of looks like Mysterio is ducking down there, so I'm thinking he's maybe like 4.5 to 5 feet off the ground. So yeah, I'm not really that big a fan of this cover. I mean, in theory it could be good, but just thinking about where he is location wise just makes my head hurt. And we open up with something. I'm not sure why Peter is in the black suit, but this is obviously a homage to the Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 21, which was the wedding issue. I say that this is obviously a homage because of where they are. There's a reason we tell ourselves stories. The details we focus on, the ones we leave out, the order we put things in. It all matters, sometimes a lot, because we need those stories to get through the day. Through the hard times. This is my story, the one I play over and over when everything goes wrong. And there we see it. Empire State Building, he's in the black suit, and that's obviously a homage to scene from the wedding issue. I haven't heard many people bring this up. I really haven't heard anybody bring this up in a review, which is surprising, but it's obviously this same, it's obviously supposed to be a homage to this. I guess it's, Nick Spencer has said as far as he's concerned, this is not going away, so maybe it's his way of saying that he wants the marriage back. Just right in the first panel. Just right on the first pages. It's the one where I'm on top of the world, where I feel safest, where I'm loved, where I'm not alone, because we're together. I also have to wonder, maybe memories of the other timeline are leaking through to Peter. At least that's something interesting they could be doing, but whatever. Sometimes I even see it in my sleep, assuming I actually get any. So now Peter's rooming with two losers. Robbie Robertson's son, who, in every other version of last time I read the comics, was considerably younger than Peter, and a super villain who's a ripoff of Captain Boomerang. Why on earth would he be roommating with a super villain? Why would he be letting a supervillain get away with stuff? You see, this is what I mean when I say that they've destroyed Spider-Man's character. So we let him go just because of something to do with the Kingpin. And now he's being told that he needs to relax. He's a supervillain who even steals his shtick from better supervillains. And now we see a bunch of heroes, fighting. And, yeah. Everybody's fighting. Nice big group shot. It seems like they're desperate to get readers back because they're just throwing everyone who's popular in the comics. And this looks pretty good. Except for, there's just one shot, except for nobody can work miracles. And, so you can't make Carol Manvers look like a woman. And it kind of looks like her spine is broken in this shot. But whatever. But yeah, they're just throwing everyone who's been popular in a movie or TV series into these shots. I have to wonder. And now everybody seems to hate it. It's your friend seems to hate Spider-Man. And they've obviously put Jessica, and in obviously a homage to the Defenders on Netflix, they've put Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and Luke Cage together. So yeah, this is definitely Marvel being desperate for subscribers, in my view. But everybody is annoyed at Spider-Man. And he says that it's hard to blame them. A few weeks ago, dispatch to all units. Armed robbery in progress at Stern Savings and Trust. Hi everybody, it's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Don't be alarmed by my shattering this glass. Still friendly. And don't sweat the neighborhood part. Turns out I'm qualified too. It's him! Get ready! We got the vault. Get the vault door open. Quick! See? Killed. Turns out I do have fans all over. Apologies for the ruse, Spider-Man. They just happen to be awful. But I know you're much too humble to come here for this any other way. Wilson Fisk, kingpin of crime, and now the duly elected mayor of New York City. And to me, that just feels like a rip-off of that time they had Lex Luthor be elected president in Superman comics. So it feels like they're pandering and ripping off left and right in order to get subscribers back. How the heck did that happen, alright? Some people say he used an Infinity Stone to reshape reality, or got Mastermind to brainwash everybody, but I blame all the subway delays. Dr. Doom is probably right about democracy being dumb. Of course, they're probably going to turn this into a commentary on the Trump presidency down the line. Save it, Fisk. I know a setup when I see one. You even got your camera crew ready. Well, I've never seen that vault before in my life. You misunderstand me, Warcrawler. I simply wanted to present you with this key to the city. It's the least I can do to show my appreciation for all your heroic efforts to protect my constituents. Wow, key to the city? Think of the doors it would open for me. Spider-Man honored at Lincoln Center. Spider-Man statue in Prospect Park. Spider-Man gets to skip the line at Cats with a Z? I have no idea what that is. Is that a real thing in New York? What? Hey, wait a second. It seems there's a Wonderful Life. You even kind of look like Mr. Potter. You can't buy me, mister. I'll stick with my regular-sized keys. Thank you. That would actually be incredibly awkward to carry around. I still don't understand, Mr. Mayor. You've all but declared war on every so-called costumed hero in New York. But for Spider-Man, I have nothing but praise and adoration, and you're wondering why that is? Yes, sir. Some men thrive on independence. Others crave the approval of others so badly that they make inane jokes consistently, even trying to earn the laughter of their sworn enemies. Well, that was a weird sentence structure. Others crave the approval of others. That's weird. I could attack and hunt and hound the Wallcrawler, but to truly hurt him, it is much better to isolate him, create a schism between him and those whose admiration he craves, and once I have him alone and cornered, only then can I squash him? Squash him like the bug he is? I need a better speech writer. Give Fisk credit. So far as evil plans go, he knows what he's doing. Okay, two things I don't like. I like this general idea. However, the two people they choose to demonstrate it with don't work. First of all, they have Daredevil, who through all his senses, would be able to tell that Spider-Man's telling the truth when he says that he's not working with Kingpin or hasn't done anything to cause Kingpin to praise him. Secondly, he knows Kingpin well enough to know that this is a trap. Thirdly, again, in this situation, it would be Kingpin he's suspicious of. But the one that I really feel is out of character is Johnny Storm here. Yeah, he and Peter have been riding each other since the 1960s. But guess what? It's a friend. It's always been a friendly. It's always been a friendly rivalry, and he's never actually thought that Peter was that Spider-Man was a supervillain, and he's never and Johnny is also way too suspicious of people in power. He just has this suspicious nature about, and what's more, he's also suspicious of anybody who's ever been a supervillain, and he just doesn't trust them. So in this situation, I'm sorry, his response wouldn't be his response wouldn't be to think that there's something up with Peter or Spider-Man. His response would be to go, "Hey, yeah, Fisk is obviously up to something. We should probably find out what it is before he does anything." Okay, then we have this whole thing. I'm sorry I'm skipping huge parts of this, but I don't want this but if I read every page the way I normally do, this review would go on for probably an hour. And commented on things, this review would probably go on for an hour. And here's a problem. I may not have been reading Spider-Man comics all that much. Really at all. But here he steps into something that is able to detect, that's able to detect all sorts of things for plagiarism. It's looking for plagiarism, and it can even detect deals with Mephisto. And Peter steps into it. So why isn't this the beginning of a plot arc where Peter finds out that Mephisto has changed the timeline because it detected Mephisto? 2, it says that a paper Peter wrote as a graduate study while he was possessed by Doc Ock wasn't written by him, and it was fraudulent. Okay, that makes sense. Except even I know, and this shows how bad editorial has gotten. Editorial is now pretty much non-existent on Marvel Comics, and I don't know why they get a credit, because even I know, as somebody who hasn't been reading Spider-Man comics for a decade, that the paper they're talking about was a doctoral thesis. Yes. And it got Peter a doctorate. How come somebody who hates what they've done with the comics and so hasn't been reading them knows what's going on better than the editors who are paid to do this job? This is how low Marvel is sunk, people. This is how low. And now Peter gets in trouble at the Bugle. And he meets up with Mary Jane, who can only laugh at his face. Oh, that's great. Come on, MJ. I'm sorry. It's just, dude, your life is so much ridiculous. Hi, I'm Peter Parker. I didn't plagiarize my graduate thesis. It was my evil, mad scientist arch enemy in a clone body of me. No, you got it all wrong. It wasn't a clone body. He transferred his consciousness into my body. See, I feel like Nick Spencer is as sick as I am of all this garbage that they've been doing that was being done for the past 10 years. One thing that redeems this, I know I've been doing a lot of complaining, but I feel like Nick Spencer is in the same boat and he's trying to shovel his way out of it. He's trying to shovel his way out of it, as they would say on Twin Peaks, shovel their way out of. He's trying to shovel his way out of the shit, because, good night. This feels like he's just mocking every stupid, over-the-top, overdone plot line that's been done. And how confusing they are, and how nobody could keep track of them, and how it alienates normal readers, and how it alienates people trying to get into the books for the first time with the popularity of the movies. In fact, didn't the I'm pretty sure the whole Doc Ock taking over his body thing coincided with when they did the Amazing Spider-Man movies at Sony. So you would have thought they would try to keep things simple so that new readers could just jump right in. New readers that would have been brought in by those movies could have just jumped right in. But nope, Marvel in their infinite wisdom decided to run things into the ground again. I'm sorry, but this is the first modern comic I've been reviewing, from Marvel, so everything I feel about Marvel is sort of getting unloaded in this review. Besides, Otto's not my arch nemesis. He's my runner-up nemesis at best. Okay, I apologize for the confusion. Also, did Mary Jane get wiped from... Because when I read One More Day, it said that she would remember the deal. So, what's going on with her here? I'm just trying to figure out. Because it's acting like she doesn't know about the deal or that they used to be married either. So, I don't get it. I just keep seeing Robbie's face, and I wish she would have yelled at me. Seeing him like that was way worse. I mean, it's one thing when my stuff ruins my life, but whenever it affects somebody I care about... Yeah, Tiger. I think I know what you mean. Nice one, Peter. Very few people have paid a bigger price for your life as Spider-Man than Mary Jane Watson. Yeah, you got that right, and it was because of your own stupid choices. Me and her were so in love, the kind of love that I really thought might last for good. But all the fears I had about putting her in danger and all the fears she had about how I was putting myself in danger eventually tore us apart. But still best friends, but sometimes it feels like something's missing. And in business news tonight, the former head of Parker Industries and current science editor of the Daily Bugle is in hot water, facing accusations of plagiarism. Again, he got that science editor's job because he had a doctorate. So how can they make that big of a mistake? And now his former employees are going public with allegations he claimed credit for their inventions, and according and Jeffries, who worked with Parker on both his own company and Horizon Labs, reached for comment. Jeffries said, "He's a total fraud. I was the brains behind the entire operation. See you in court, Peter." End quote. Well, at least they're getting rid of the... Here's the thing. I like the idea of Peter using his brains. One of the few things Mark Waid did that made sense to me was Peter using his brains to get ahead in life. Now, if they had combined that with him using his brain, with him acting like an adult instead of a teenager, it would have been great. So I'm not so happy that they're redoing this to try and make him a college student again. But maybe Nick Spencer figures the only way he can get rid of all this garbage is to go back to square one and then go back to where the comics were like in maybe he figures that if he gets it back to where it was in 1986, basically, he can basically redo 1987 and get things back to the way they were in the 90s. That's what I'm hoping is going on here. So anyway, yeah, Aunt May is alive again. I guess so she can keep dying of the same heart attack. Still alive, of course. Why did they even bring her back after 400? That was such a perfect exit. But yeah, anyway. He beats up and gets Mysterio. Finally know what I have to do. I almost died tonight, and yeah, I get it. That happens a lot, but this felt different. We tell ourselves stories to get through the hard times. And the truth is, if I'm being honest, nothing has felt right for a long time. I think I know why. And yes, How we tell them matters. We've been through so much together, survived so much together, and I know that on my end at least, if I hadn't been there, if you hadn't been there, I wouldn't have survived. But the truth is, there are only so far they'll take you. Because, yeah, I can do a lot of things. Swing from buildings, climb walls, do all this stuff. But to do this, and do it right, I need you. I wish I had all the answers. I wish I knew how to make everything better, and safer, and easier, and simpler. But I just can't anymore. You can play the dream in your head over and over. But if you want things to change, if you want that story to be your life, you have to wake up. Maybe this is a mistake. I'm sorry if this isn't fair to you. Maybe I should... Whoa. Easy, Tiger. If you have to make it real, this is my story. Our story. We're in this together, Peter. We always have been. Yes! And that makes up for some of garbage. The Amazing Spider-Man, Back to Basics, Part 1. And Nick Spencer, writer, Ryan Ottley, penciler. And I think I already said what I thought about Ryan Ottley because of my positive interactions with him on Twitter. And then we have this then we have a little vignette where Mysterio breaks out. Has something going on with him, but now Peter's has to go back to college to get his doctoral thesis again, and we see who his professor is. Peter Parker, have a seat. Yeah, despite my complaints about the writing, it's really just digging itself out of the garbage Spider-Man has put itself in. And the art style isn't 100% the best. I still think Ryan Stegman does the best looking Spider-Man art in modern Spider-Man comics. I think Ryan Stegman still does the best looking art. But Nick Ottley is a close second, and it's far and away better than what you're getting in Renew Your Vows. Now, I think Renew Your Vows is a better written book right now, but yeah, and this issue is mostly about putting things back together, but seeing Peter and MJ back together really gives me a shot in the arm and hope for the future of the Wayne 616 Spider-Man for the first time in over a decade. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. It's too concerned with shoveling itself out, I hope, but I think the next issue will be better because it doesn't have to set up all this stuff just to set it back so that it can get rid of all the damage done by one more day and the past 10 years. So yeah. So, a nice shot of hope for Spider-Man, and I hope you enjoyed this review. See you next time.